Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
All right. Once again, we are on. This is week number 17 of the NFL. I am the TheMoJoKing. He is the great Donnie Oooh, and we are Hidden Gems Football, brought to you by the mighty 19 Media Group. How are you today, Mr. Oooh?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. How are you, Mo?
Mixed bag. I got pretty much everything on the podcast wrong last week, but all of my Survivor teams made it through to another week.
Go figure.
So, go figure. And I hit a parlay.
Wow.
Yep. Hit a
Congrats.
Parlay. Yeah.
I'm on like an eight week losing streak.
Weird stuff happening. All right. Before we get into anything, I would just like to give a quick shout out to our viewers and listeners. We survive, we thrive only because of you. So thank you for listening and watching. All right. Now, usually we get into a breakdown of what we're going to do all this whole time, but I don't want to get into that. I just want to jump into it. Donnie, what's your one thing for the week?
Well, my one thing for the week is actually two things for the week, because your boy, Donnie, was right. My two big pick of the weeks last week, when I chose to give props to Green Bay, beating the Miami Dolphins and proving to the world that the frauds that they were, that I've said for numerous weeks, and then a certain someone, him, he thought I was a madman. Yeah, him. He thought I was a madman when I chose Carolina over Detroit. I perfectly said that Detroit didn't impress me. Didn't impress me at all. And yeah, part of the reason why I made that pick was for spite. But regardless, spite or not, it proved me right. And being the fact I'm going to be on my Talking Ish tour today, you know what these are? These are my trusty notes. Let's get to it. I'm going to first talk about the Carolina Panthers whooping Detroit. I'm patting myself in the back because the Panthers beat the Detroit Lions 37-23. And it wasn't even that close. At one point, they was up 31-7 early in the third quarter. Sam Darnold threw for 250 yards, 15 of 22, at a 68% completion rate clip. Shoot, maybe if we would have kept him and just surrounded him with weapons, maybe we would actually be in the playoffs right now. But I digress. Not only was Sam Darnold doing the damn thing, they had two running backs, both rush over 125 yards apiece. Foreman with 165 yards, averaging damn near 8 yards a carry. Chuba Hubbard accounted for 125 yards himself, averaging damn near 10 yards a carry. 320 yards rushing as a team. That this week, when they go down to Tampa, they put themselves in a position to actually pretty much cement themselves in the postseason. All they have to do is beat Tampa. Steve Wilkes, who I've been beating the drum on since he took over for the interim tag. They need to remove that interim tag because whether they make it to the playoffs or not, they pretty much had a fire sale at the beginning of the season. They got rid of McCaffrey. They traded away Robbie Anderson. They traded away Baker Mayfield. They fired their head coach. This team has steadily improved, and this team has really taken on the personality of Steve Wilkes, and I really believe that he deserves all the kudos for the job that he's done, and he really needs to be a coach going forward. I'm not saying give him a big deal, a 5-year deal, but at least give him another 2 years because he's establishing a culture. And really, in football, that's what it's all about. You establish a culture, you establish a foundation, and you build up. And right now, I really believe they're one of the teams that I feel confident going forward. Last but not least, even though Tampa Tom led those Tampa Bay Bucks to a come from behind victory. It was mostly due to the ineptness of Arizona. It had nothing to do with Tampa Tom, because Tampa Tom was trying to throw that game away. They were down. They were down 16-6 early in the fourth quarter. So if I'm Carolina, that doesn't instill any type of fear going down to Tampa. So why can't they sweep? So yeah. So pat on the back for me, and this is gonna pop my boy Tyler. Ding dong. Hello. I told you I was right. For my second pick that I was correct on, and that would be Green Bay Packers going down to Miami on Christmas Eve, which normally would be a trap game to me because all the festivities on South Beach. You have a team from the Great North going down to going down to Miami. It's holiday season. You would think that the season's in flux, so they have nothing to do but party. But no. Aaron Rodgers had his team ready for war. They come from behind fashion to beat the Miami Dolphins 26-20 and keep their slim playoff chances alive while damaging Miami's tenuous hold on that last wild card position, which, of course, me being a Jet fan, worked out perfectly. Christmas Eve to me was based on the trash quarterback play of Tua Tagovailoa, who, by the way, has been ruled out this Sunday because he is in concussion protocol once again. Do you know? And tell you the truth, even though I'm talking about I'm wearing a Green Bay hat, this is primarily going to be about the trash team that the Miami Dolphins are. Because, like I said, I got notes. In the last 4 games that Miami has played, which coincidentally were losses, Tua Tagovailoa has thrown 5 interceptions. He's been sacked 9 times. And he has completed over 55% of his passes only once. And let me give a quick question. Mike McDaniel, the coach of the Miami Dolphins. If you're the coach and you see that you're also ran MVP candidate of a quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, has been struggling in the passing game for the last month, why wouldn't you lean on the running game? Mostert, for the year, is averaging close to 5 yards a carry. Wilson, the other running back, is averaging just over 5 yards a carry. But yet, because you have these toys on the side, you feel the need to throw. Would you have tweaked the offensive game plan to try to focus more on the run while Tua getting his, while allowing Tua to get his feet up underneath him again?
Well, I mean, I think you're asking the wrong person because I am a little bit old school by heart. So I don't mind a run. Of course, I would adjust it, but you know what? I'm not paid the big bucks. McDaniels is, and Tyreek Hill is, and Waddle should be, eventually, paid big bucks as well. So I guess that's what the deal is.
Do you know? People was actually talking about Bradley Chubb putting them over the top, putting that defense over the top, making them a bona fide Super Bowl contender. I believe that trade for picking up Bradley Chubb has failed. The defense has actually gotten worse. And as for the Lions are who we said they were. They gave up 570 yards of total offense against Carolina. While their offense is explosive, they're just not ready yet. And that defense is trash. And I really believe they're going to lose against the Green Bay Packers in the season finale. But I don't think they're even going to be in contention by the time the season finale comes because I think they're going to lose this coming week too. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, that's my 1 but 2 big things for the week. Hello?
The Lion slander threw me off. We'll get back to that in a second. But I do have to apologize to the Panthers there. I believe I called them paper tigers last week. Let's see if Tom Brady can cut them up. I kind of doubt it. All right.
Good. One last thing. You know what really actually is kind of conflicting me right now because I was right, but I didn't make no bread off it because I was en route down to Virginia to see my grandkids for the weekend, and I also forgot that because of Christmas, all the games were on Saturday and not Sunday, so I didn't put nothing in this week, and I would have made coin, but there's always another week.
Yeah. I mean, you got to see your grandkids. That's more than a fair trade-off. I got everything wrong, but somehow I got everything right when it came down to money.
And that's the most important.
So we're both winners here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Thursday night. We have the Dallas Cowboys heading to Tennessee to face the Titans. The Cowboys are 10-point favorites. The total is expected to be 40.5 points. That means that Vegas is saying the projected score will be the Dallas 25.25 with Tennessee 15.25. Let's see. As far as injuries go, the 11-4 Cowboys have Tony Pollard, who's been out Monday and Tuesday practices because of his thigh, but he does look likely to play. And then star linebacker Micah Parsons has a left hand injury. He was limited in practice. He's expected to play too. We're not sure if he'll be 100%. Meanwhile, on Tennessee's side, they have Ryan Tannehill, who's out for the season because of ankle injury. He might be ready for the playoffs if they make it. If they make it. And then Derrick Henry has a hip issue. He was limited in practice, but he said he expects to play. Now, since Tannehill's out, that means Malik Willis will be starting. We'll talk about a little bit more about that. What's your take on this game? Oh, one last note I do want to say before I kick it your way. Mm-hmm. This game means almost nothing to Tennessee. They have to win next week at Jacksonville.
Normally just like looking at it, you would think, yeah, this Cowboys all the way. Because, Malik Willis, I'm not going to lie, the only real action that I really saw him in was that Sunday night game against Kansas City earlier this season, which was more due to Derrick Henry and the defense keeping them competitive, even though they ultimately lost that game, than him actually having to win it. So, like I said, I'm going to confess that I'm a novice when it comes to whatever Malik Willis has to offer. And you would think, like you said, Tennessee doesn't really need this game. They need the following week against Jacksonville for the division. But the Cowboys are the Cowboys. You can never underestimate the stupidness of the Cowboys or the recklessness of Dak Prescott. They're riding high off a Christmas Eve victory against the Philadelphia Eagles, but their defense gave up 34 points to a backup quarterback. Gardner Minshew is a good backup quarterback, and that's not even Gardner Minshew slander. It's just the fact. They give 34 points at home against a backup quarterback. Jalen Hurts went. If Jalen Hurts plays, Cowboys lose. More likely. I'm gonna pick the Cowboys. Like if for survival purposes or money line, I'll pick the Cowboys. I don't believe they're going to cover that spread, so I actually would go against the spread. Tennessee money line, Cowboys over under. I'm staying away from.
My knowledge of Malik Willis is that he's just not ready to be a quarterback in the NFL yet. In particular, as far as throwing, he's a good runner. Obviously, they have Derrick Henry too. I think he's going to play. That's a lot of running. Dallas is 22nd versus the run in the NFL. But here's the thing. If you're not worried about Willis throwing the ball, I think you could completely sell out for the run. I would tend to think that will slow them down enough that Dallas will continue to get good field position. And Tennessee has lost 5 straight. They have shown no indication that they're going to do anything as far as win the game. So Survivor, Dallas easy. That point spread, Dallas should cover it, but I would not bet it just because, like you said, they've been making a lot of mistakes. But what's interesting to me is that Dallas has averaged 37 points the last 6 weeks. Granted, Tennessee has a great defense, but we're looking at a total of 40. I'm going with the over. That's my only bet for the week. And like we said, Survivor, I would take Dallas. One last note, because I did say about Tennessee's playoffs thing. Dallas they look like they're pretty much locked in as far as the top wild card. But if they win 2 straight and Philly loses the next 2 straight, and remember, they may not have their starting quarterback, Dallas could still win the division. So there is incentive for them to win this game.
Anytime Dallas needs to win or they have any type of prosperity, it's guaranteed for them to crap the bed. Yeah, Cowboy Nation. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. You know how many times you ought to messed up a parlay for me?
Donnie is spreading the slander around this week.
Yeah. Everybody can get some. it's the season of giving.
Oh, boy.
Hello.
This guy. All right. Let's get into the next section. Survivor. As far as last week, in my 2 leagues, the elimination percentage was 8% and 13% respectively. A huge chunk of that was Tennessee losing to Houston. The rest of the eliminations were pretty much due to people just having to make tough decisions. They couldn't go with the big favorites because they probably used them already. So they had to make tighter games. They had to make choices, and they just made some wrong choices. Fortunately for me, I avoided all of them. Let's see if I can get lucky this week, because this week also looks like it's going to be some tough decisions. All right, Donnie, these big spread games, they probably don't matter as much for Survivor, but I still want to go through them. Let's see if there's any betting sides you like as far as over-unders or the betting spread, especially if you like underdogs, because I know you love underdogs. All right, you ready?
That's where the money's made. Where the money resides.
Yeah, it's tough money to get sometimes, but you're right. That is where the money is. All right, we got 4 games. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, 6-9 New Orleans Saints are going to face the 13-2 Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. The Eagles are 7-point favorites. Jalen Hurts is still uncertain for the week. We have the 4-11 Denver Broncos. They're heading to the 12-3 Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 13-point favorites. The total there is 44.5 points. The third game is the 3-12 Chicago Bears, losers of 8 straight, are going to Detroit to face the Lions. The Lions are 6-point favorites there, and the total is 52.5 points. And then the fourth big spread for the week, the San Francisco 49ers are 6-point favorites. They're heading to Las Vegas to face the 6-9 Raiders. The total there is 44.5 points. Anything there catch your attention? Any bet you like?
Okay. Well, to me, the gimme bet would be Eagles over the Saints. Eagles at home. They need one more victory to clinch home field. And I believe they really will have more motivation to try to do it this week, especially being the fact that Jalen Hurts is still dealing with a bum shoulder. So if they deal with it this week, if they clinch this week, then maybe they can give him maybe a quarter play in the season finale just to make sure he's not too rusty, knowing that they have that bye week. So I personally think that would be the definite of the 4 that you discussed. Do straight money line. I wouldn't even deal with the spread, the over under, anything, because I just think that's a lock. You want to say hi, babe?
Hello, Happy New Year.
That is
Happy
my lovely
New
wife,
Year.
Mrs. Ooh. So you see how spontaneous it is on Hidden Gems Football? You never know what you're going to get. And you actually got a cameo from my wife. So it's always a plus. But yeah, like I was saying, the next game would be the Chicago-Detroit matchup. If you're looking for an upset, it wouldn't be here. I believe, and mind you, I have no love for Detroit whatsoever, and I just don't believe in them. But I believe, knowing that there's a possibility that it could come down to them in Green Bay in the season finale, would be enough motivation for them to be able to pretty much shake off their, last week's loss and kind of set them up for at least a attempt to get into the postseason. So I would actually lean on Detroit money line. I would not go I would not do the over under or the spread for that either. Now, the 49er Raider game, not the point spread is 9.
No, San Francisco is only 6-point favorites. They're going to Vegas though.
All right, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the Yahoo lines, but I believe San Francisco is going to win because the Raiders have no motivation. There's already talk about them trying to get out of Derek Carr's deal, perhaps putting him on the trade market. So, what's the motivation for Las Vegas right now? They're not going to make the playoffs. This season has to be considered a disappointment. And yeah, while they're at home, I really think they're just playing out the string. So 49ers both covering the spread and money line. Over under, once again, I'm staying away from.
You said you saw a different line with them 9-point favorites. If they were 9-point favorites, would you still take them?
I would not take them to cover the spread. I would take those strictly money line. And I believe the last game I probably would stay away from altogether.
That was the Broncos Chiefs?
Oh, I'm sorry. Speaking of that, now, a good thing you reminded me. And yeah, I know I'm being helter-skelter right now, but I apologize. That game is interesting to me because they fought Denver fired their head coach Nathaniel Hackett, right? To me personally, their problems this season has nothing to do with talent. To me, it's been mostly coaching. Coaching is a large part, and whatever's going on with Russell Wilson. Like, he never really ingratiated himself to that team. I believe that team despises him, but it's never been talent because their defense has been stout for the last couple of years. And tell you the truth, if they would have scored more than 15 points a game, they probably would have at least 4 more wins. So that combined with Kansas City, not, like I've said in the past, not being an explosive offense, not consistently blowing people out, I would actually go with Denver against the spread because I believe that they will keep this game tighter because they'll actually have some type of leadership that they haven't had the prior 15 weeks in which go in the coaching chair. I don't believe Denver's going to win, but I believe they might be able to cover that spread.
All right, well, I definitely see where you're going with that one, and I don't think I necessarily disagree, except for one thing. Usually, a lot of times, teams will rally behind just not having that coach there. Once that toxicity is gone, they rally behind it, and whoever the new interim coach is. But my problem with that is that I really think a lot of it is Russell Wilson. And I think he's in his head, and I don't think his teammates necessarily trust him anymore. I don't think he trusts himself. I kind of feel like you're going to be half right, that the game's going to stay closer maybe early on than you would expect. But I just feel like he's going to throw a big pick, a pick six, or something like that.
I got one other thing to say on that game. They did play a couple weeks ago, and while Kansas City did go out to a big lead, the final score of that game was 34-28. Actually, that was one of Russell Wilson's best games of the season. He threw 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and threw for close to 250 yards. I figure with a different coach, they could probably stay within that 10-point range.
All right, we'll see. The 6-9 Carolina Panthers, they are going to Tampa Bay to face the 7-8 Buccaneers. Whoever takes this game will be leading the division. Tampa Bay are 3-point favorites. The total is 39.5 points. That means that Carolina will have 18.25, while Tampa Bay will have 21.25. There's no major injury here. What do you think about this game, Donnie?
Well, being the fact that I was tooting the horn of Carolina so hard during my 1, 2, 201 big things. But yeah, being the fact that I've been on the Carolina bandwagon, especially this episode, I'm going to continue with that. Tampa Bay, they're just such a tease. Every time you think they're going to get some type of momentum, they just don't. Tampa Tom has thrown what? At least 2 interceptions in the last 2 games. I believe maybe the last 3 games, if I'm not mistaken. I know for a fact over the last 2 games he's accounted for six turnovers, and that is very unlike Tom Brady. Their defense is not really good enough to carry them. Their offense, they have the weapons. It's just coming down to coaching, and that's my long-winded way of saying Tampa ain't winning. Carolina gonna go down to Tampa and snatch that victory, and they're gonna run that ball all down their throat. So yeah, Carolina.
All right, so you got Carolina for the win. All right.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay's been 1-4 in their last 5 at home. And since November, this is their scoring totals: 16, 21, 17, 17, 7, 23, and 19. So shouldn't be much offensive output on that side. Meanwhile, Carolina has won 3 of their last 4, but are 1-5 on the road, their last 6 road games. And their last one was a win against Seattle in Week 14. So my thing is that I don't think Tampa is going to score more than 20. Will Carolina score more than 20 is probably the question. I think it's a coin toss either way with as far as that goes. So since Tampa's a 3-point favorite, I am going to lean Carolina because I have the 3 points, there in the pocket. And I think the game is actually going to be under. I think it's going to be a real low scoring game. I probably wouldn't bet either one, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Carolina to cover. To with the points, and then for the game to be under.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm not betting. I'm scared. All right. Next game up, we have the Miami Dolphins. They're going to New England to face the Patriots. The Patriots are 2.5-point favorites. The total here is 42.5 points. That means that Vegas is expecting the Dolphins to score 20, while the Patriots score 22.5. As we mentioned, Tua is out with a concussion again. Teddy Bridgewater looks to be back from a knee injury, so he will likely take over. If not, it's Skylar Thompson. On the Patriots side, Damian Harris has a thigh injury. He's been week to week for a couple weeks now. He hasn't played since week 12. So I would expect he plays this week, but I thought he was going to play last week, so who knows. Hunter Henry, tight end for the Patriots. He went out last week with a knee injury. He was ruled out very early, but apparently he's not that bad, and he's listed as day-to-day, so he may or may not play this week. Donnie, what do you think about this game?
Okay, I have a rooting interest to this because it directly affects my New York Jets. As much as I don't want to pick Miami, I believe I need Miami to win, and I believe Miami will win to set them up for the ultimate downfall. But no, strategic wise, I believe this might be the best thing for Miami at this current time to have a steadying force, a steadying guide in Teddy Bridgewater behind center, and that will allow them to be a more balanced team and actually establish the running game like I discussed earlier, because you have 2 capable running backs. And like I said, I believe it'll just settle that team down, because right now they're so enamored with Hill and Waddle and their speed, they don't necessarily play to their strengths as an overall team. Because as much slander as I want to give Miami, and deservedly so, they do have a good team. They have good players in a lot of important positions. It's just they're so wrapped up in, we need to be the greatest show on grass, that it takes them away from what they should be doing. So that's my way of saying that I'm going with Miami here, just outright to win, because that spread is pretty much a pick 'em. So yeah, just outright to win, Miami.
All right. Miami's lost 4 straight after winning 5 straight before that. Their offenses look like it's basically collapsed. I've been hearing rumors that a lot of that is because defenses feel like they figured out a technique as far as checking the speed up front right off the line of scrimmage, and that's been slowing them down. Does it change with Bridgewater? I can't see how. I would be stunned if Bridgewater does really change that factor, because he's not been known to go air out balls anyway. He plays kind of conservative. Like you said, it might feed into the Dolphins running the ball more, which might end up helping them in the long run. Meanwhile, New England has lost 4 of their last 5, which is nuts considering that they just need to win a couple games and they'd be right. They're in the playoff picture, but they would have been in very good shape if they had been able to fight through some games here. I think this game's going to be ugly. I have no real feeling at all about who's going to win. I don't think I have much feeling about the over-under either. I think I'm just going to leave this game completely alone. I have no pick in this game. Yes, I am taking the coward way out.
Listen, if I didn't have a rooting interest on this game, I probably would be the same way. But I really need New England to lose. So, yeah, Dolphins all the way.
Hey, Donnie, real quick, can you explain why why the Patriots need to lose that game?
Okay. The Patriots right now are tied with us record-wise at 7-8.
The Jets.
Us meaning the New York Jets. But the Patriots also have the tiebreaker over us. So if the Patriots lose, that drops them to 7-9. I'm assuming that my Jets will win this weekend in Seattle to put us to 8-8. And will set up pretty much a winner take all matchup in Week 18 in Miami for the last wildcard spot, because we already have one win over Miami. So therefore, if we finish with the same record of 9-8, we will go into the playoffs, and Miami would be on the outside looking at us celebrate.
All right. Well, since we were talking about them, the next game up is the New York Jets. They are heading to Seattle to face the Seahawks. Both of the teams are 7-8. The Jets are 2-point favorites. The total is 42.5 points. That means that the Jets would score, according to Vegas, 22.25 points, while Seattle scores 20.25 points. Mike White is back.
King of New York is back, baby. The Zach Wilson experiment is gone. Like that atrocity last Thursday at home in the rain against the Jags was pretty much should have been his swan song. Even more so for you to know that Zach Wilson's time in New York is pretty much gone. You know, the backup quarterback for this coming game is Joe Flacco. The same Joe Flacco that has had no interest in getting in any games since week 3. We put him as the backup and just said, you know what, Zach, just go in the corner and look at the ceiling. Like we just stay away from him. Mike White, for his positive for the team is the team loves him. What he just has the intangibles. He might not have the physical gifts. He might not have the strongest arm. He's not the fleetest of foot. But the team, more importantly, the offense loves him. And our defense has been playing balls out. We haven't given up 20 points in like the last couple of weeks. It's just been our offense that just has, due to the injury of Mike White, just hasn't been able to get out of his own way. So there's no reason, and this is, I can't even say taking my jet hat off because I don't have it on. This is even more the reason why I believe the Jets are going to win, because they have newfound life. Everything that they needed to happen this past weekend to keep them in contention happened. They're still able to control their own destiny, even though they've lost 4 in a row. And Seattle, as you actually mentioned last week or the week before last, you can kind of tell that the reels are kind of falling off, because they were 6-3 at one time. Like both teams were like surprise stories of the league, and unfortunately, both teams have come down to earth. Now there is one concerning factor for me. Geno Smith, former Jet quarterback who got ushered out via broken jaw, and Pete Carroll have made mention that they're looking forward to this game as somewhat of a revenge game. And I personally believe, like, y'all need to be concerned with what y'all trying to do in the NFC. But that makes me wonder, like, are they mentally checked out? Are they like just pretty much said, you know what, we're not gonna make the playoffs. Let's try to spoil their job. And oh yeah, by the way, we still got Jamal Adams whining ass. So I'm still going with the Jets. I'm going to pick money line on the Jets. Tell you the truth, might as well go money line and which going to cover the spread because it's only a point and a half. The over under I would stay away from. And yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'm going to side with the Jets too. The Seahawks, like you mentioned, they just look like their wheels are falling off. You know, they lost 4 of their last 5. Their offense is not clicking anymore. Geno is looking closer to what we expect him to be. The Jets, I don't even think Mike White is good personally, but he's not Zach Wilson, who's just been atrocious. And I think the Jets with a solid quarterback and that plus defense, they should win this game. You know, both these teams have to win it, but I think the Jets are going to go on the road and actually pull it out. I'm not messing with the over-under either. So, all right, we're going to hit to just one last game real quick because it probably will be the game of the week.
Yes.
That is the Buffalo Bills going to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. The Bills are half a point favorite. The total is 49.5. Vegas is expecting this score to be 25 Buffalo, 24.5 Cincinnati. It's a toss-up game. It's game of the week. It's going to have a lot of seeding. There's seeding ramifications. It's the Monday night game. Donnie, you have any opinion on this game?
Well, I believe that Cincinnati is the best team in the AFC currently. Seeding aspirations, they're currently third. If they won, then they would kind of push. I believe they would push up to second, and they would drop Buffalo, depending on whether Kansas City won or not, would drop them from the top seed now to the third seed. So there's motivation on both sides. This game, I believe, it's in Buffalo.
It's in Cincinnati.
Even more the reason why I'm going to go with Cincinnati for the win. This brings back memories to me from in the late 80s, early 90s. I believe the Boomer Esiason Cincinnati Bengals. They had a short rivalry with Buffalo before Buffalo was able to break through and get to their 4 consecutive Super Bowls, even though they didn't win any. So this is like kind of sentimental because little known fact about your boy Donnie. I've always been a Jets fan, like from the age of 6, but I used to mess with the Bills heavy back in the days before, you know, I'm an underdog picker. So once they got to the precipice of a championship, I'm like, I ain't messing with them. But yeah, this just brings back old school vibes. So I will go with Cincinnati for the win.
You know what? I'm going to abstain from this one too because I really have no clue, and I would just be picking just to pick. I do think that the ramifications as far as the playoffs are huge because in the AFC in particular, you really want that 1 seed. Not only because of the bye, but because going down the road, you figure the 2 and 3 seed are going to have to face each other before they get to the AFC Championship game. I don't want to be in that game if I'm any of these 3 teams. So Buffalo has a lot of incentive to try to win this game. You know, will they do it? I have no idea. All right, that is it for us. Donnie, did you notice I almost got the ticker right, but then didn't make that last one an actual ticker?
Yeah, you just put that right there. But you know what?
Just blocked out 19 Media and Hidden Gems Football.
But it was apropos because that was pretty much the game of the week.
It was.
So pat yourself in the back. Like, look, what's going? You're spiffing it up.
No. One of these days I will get it right. It wasn't this week though. Wrap us up.
Ding dong. Hello.
Donnie, get us out of here with a goodbye, man.
Okay. Hidden Gems Football. Matter of fact, I like to wish each and every one of y'all a very, very happy New Year. I wish all of y'all continued health, prosperity into this new year. And this is the time to reflect on the past year and try to bring focus into the upcoming season. So I had to get that out the way. But Hidden Gems Football is a part of the 19 Media Group. Goodbye.
Bye. guys. See you in 2023.
Hopefully.
Hopefully the world doesn't end.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
I'm not taking responsibility for that. StreamYard. That is totally StreamYard. For those who don't know, I'm hardwired. So it's not me at all. And I have good internet when I'm hardwired.
All right, let's see if it works. Try it again. Go ahead. Do it again.
Ding dong. Hello? Yeah, I know. That was crazy, right? I did that and it just said snap. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, you deserve it with the Green Bay hat.
Not my fault. Not my fault. At all. So I knew it wasn't me. I know the man with always the technical difficulties. But it wasn't me.
Sure. We don't believe you.
We need more people.